Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Seriously Fast Media. I'm your host, of course, Tom Ludermoser, and today I want to talk to you about the silly season. I do hope my audio is working properly. I washed one of my AirPods and it is kaput. So hopefully it's coming through clearly, but I do want to talk about the 2023 and, strangely enough, the 2024 silly season in the NASCAR Cup Series. And potentially even, of course, going down to Xfinity and trucks as well. So obviously, before we get the video rolling, make sure you hit that thumbs up. Make sure you guys subscribe. It really helps the channel, even if you don't subscribe, but you do hit the thumbs up icon. I'm trying to get it growing, trying to get it rolling. I've done a video, I believe, every day for the last 4 or 5 days or so. I might have missed one, but we're going to continue that. So obviously, with the big picture coming just a few days back with the announcement last week, I want to say almost exactly a week as of now, Tyler Reddick will not be returning to the number 8 Richard Childress Racing Chevrolet. He will actually be moving on in 2024. That's why I said 2024 is on here as well. He will be moving on to the number, who knows, 2311 Racing Toyota, and he will be joining Bubba Wallace and either joining or replacing Kurt Busch as well, potentially being a third car or replacing Kurt Busch if he does decide to retire. Through all those interviews, Denny Hamlin did say that Kurt is welcome to stay in the team so long as he wants a job. He is definitely going to be welcome if he wants to race into his late 40s. So obviously that is going to bring up big changes, and I did print off the screen, but you guys are obviously more than welcome to go to seriouslyfastmedia.com and check out our silly season tab and I will put that link in the description below. It doesn't print out like this, but I do believe it shows up like this if you are on mobile. I might need a different website provider if I want to do some better mobile sites. But so obviously the big announcement, the first big announcement, was Stewart-Haas Racing's 10-car. Obviously, Eric Almirola will not be in that car starting next year. He has already announced his retirement. He did, however, say that he is contemplating returning. Nothing's set in stone, but he is continuing the verbiage of he's leaving. Next up, you have Christopher Bell, whose contract ends at 2022. I very highly doubt he's leaving. Ryan Blaney, and the drivers I'm going over right now are drivers whose contracts end at the end of 2022. Brian Blaney, good luck with him getting him to leave. He'd have to get much greener pastures. Chase Briscoe in the 14 Stewart-Haas Racing Ford. Let's be honest, I don't think he's going anywhere. Chris Buescher in the number 17 Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing Ford. I very highly doubt he's leaving. He's been on the cusp of potentially snagging a win, especially at the last couple of road courses. Just showing some wonderful speed out of that team on those road courses, and having some good runs throughout the season. As a whole, I don't see him going anywhere. Brad would be nuts. Harrison Burton, he is going to be returning to Wood Brothers, I think. Obviously, that's not set in stone. There's nothing confirmed. Kyle Busch, that's one of the big ones, and we'll go over that one in detail here shortly. But I think he returns. William Byron just signed a 3-year new contract earlier this season. Ross Chastain, let's be honest, they'd be nuts to let him leave out of that number 1 Trackhouse Racing Chevrolet. Austin Cindric, dad is royalty at Penske. He ain't going anywhere. Plus, he's a defending Daytona 500 champion. I was there. It was a lot of fun. Really cool to see a rookie win the Daytona 500 for the first time. Austin Dillon, he's grandfathered in. Pun fully intended. Ty Dillon coming with the number 42 Petty GMS Racing Chevrolet. He's already announced he is not coming back. He is not returning. They have mutually agreed to separate. I will go over where I think he ends up here shortly as well. Todd Gilland, I think he's kind of 50-50 on returning back to for the Front Row Motorsports number 38 car. They've kind of cycled some guys in and out of that car over the last couple of years. I think I see them potentially continuing to do that, but I do believe they bring some money. Justin Haley in the number 31 Colleague racing car. He ain't going nowhere. He is a franchise driver for Colleague. Denny Hamlin in the number 11 Toyota. I very, very highly doubt he's going anywhere. Eric Jones, running the number 43 Petty GMS Racing Chevrolet. I'm saying he's 90% likelihood he is not going anywhere. He is going to stay with Petty GMS. He's had some fantastic speed this season. They just need better consistency. Corey Lejoy out of the number 7 Spire Motorsports car. He's had his little run of brilliance in Atlanta. Unfortunately, that fell just half a lap short, 2/3 of a lap short of potentially getting a win. If not a win, then absolutely his best career finish, or potentially his best career finish, I should say. We know that he is constantly looking for that better ride. We know that he publicly announced that he sent an email to Hendrick Motorsports trying to get that number 5 car and why he should be in that 5 car. He could potentially move on, but I see them trying to build something around him. He's a good driver. He's got a great personality. Fans love him. I see Spire doing what they got to do to keep him in that race car. Next up, you have Michael Mcdowell in the number 34 Front Row Motorsports car. I don't see him leaving unless he sees greener pastures. Next, you have the number 78 Live Fast Motorsports driver, BJ Mclaude. He's the owner. What do you think the odds are he's leaving? Ricky Stenhouse Jr. just signed a new multi-year contract with JTG Doherty Racing in the number 47. Daniel Suarez, he scored his first career win just a little bit ago at Sonoma in the number 99 Trackhouse racing car. It is all but confirmed by Ty Norris that he is not going to be leaving. And then, of course, you have Martin Truex Jr., who is officially returning. Those were all the guys whose contracts were up at the end of the season. Now, let's go over the big key players in 2023. That first one being, like I said, it was the first one to be announced, and that was the Stewart-Haas Racing's 10 car. What I'll do is I'll go over the driver or spot and the potential landing zones there. Stewart-Haas Racing's number 10. Riley Herbst has had a career season in the Xfinity Series. No wins, but he is growing more and more consistent, scoring a lot of stage points. He's doing pretty good. Does that justify him moving up to Cup? No, probably not, let's be honest. But he is a potential lander there. Ryan Preece is kind of the, I don't want to say shoe in there, because he is their backup driver as well as their, what is their exact term for him? I don't remember, but he is their, man, I'm brain farting on this, but he's their backup. He is running for them on behalf of Stewart-Haas Racing in the Xfinity and Truck Series. And of course, there's a couple other guys. Kyle Busch could potentially come to mind as well. And I guess we could kind of just see who moves up or who they move around. I could see Stewart-Haas trying to get another veteran. They haven't really hired any rookies outside of Cole Custer a couple seasons ago, and Chase Briscoe last season. Bringing Eric Almirola in to that 10 car. They hired Kurt Busch into the 41. It looked like they were going for veterans, so I don't know. I mean, it could kind of go any way. Kyle Busch, that's the big one. It's more and more is coming to light on that, and I think I'm going to do a whole video on that on its own, so I'm not going to get super into detail of everything. I know that Joe Gibbs kind of came out and said he is surprised that they haven't signed him yet. for 2023. If he does not, I think the odds are he stays in the 18 car. I really do. If he does not stay there, I think he could potentially take his brother's place in the 45 car in a season or two. We all know that he has never won a Truck Series championship. He could just fall back and say, hey, screw it, nobody wants me. I don't have a competitive championship contending ride, and drop back to KBM's Truck Series and run for a truck championship. He would be one of the very, very few drivers out there to have a Cup, Xfinity, and Truck Series championship at that point. I see that as being a potential, and that's something he's talked about too. Or, this one might be a little more far-fetched, but I do see a potential for a KBM Cup car. We all know Dale Jr. has talked about joining the Cup Series. Could he join his old nemesis, Dale Jr., at Junior Motorsports in the Cup Series? I don't know. There's an oddball shot in the dark conspiracy theory for you. Next up, we do have Noah Gregson. And with Ty Dillon announcing he is leaving the 42 car, he was pretty much the surefire choice of replacing Ty in the 42. I'm leaning that way. I could always potentially see him at Spire Motorsports or staying in Junior Motorsports for the Xfinity Series. He's a competitive, good championship contending driver in Xfinity. He just needs to be a little more consistent, mature a little bit. Or I could see him potentially moving to that 16 car at Kohlig full-time. There's always that chance as well. Moving on, John Hunter Nemechek. If Kyle Busch leaves, I could see him being almost a guaranteed fill-in that 18 car. If not, potentially moving up to the 18 car in Xfinity and taking over Joe Gibbs Racing Equipment there, leaving Kyle Busch Motorsports in the Truck Series. Ty Dillon, let's go to him. Let's be honest, I'm thinking probably that 48 car, that Big Machine Records Racing car, an RCR affiliated car, going there for the Xfinity Series. He has he's had a little success down there. Not a ton, but a little. And I could see a potential future there for him next season. Potentially a 2024 run into his grandfather's race team over at RCR in the number 8 car. Or, of course, Pop can keep him in-house with the Xfinity Series. They have the 2 and the 21 car. They can always go field the 31 or any other car, I guess, down there in Xfinity. I don't see him going to the 8 car next season, but if RCR was to not be able to put contracts together for next year or sponsorship next year for Tyler Reddick, who they did sign for a contract extension going into 2023, I could see them potentially booting him and going into the 8. There's a chance. I think that's a 2% chance. That's skim milk right there. Ryan Preece is another pretty big name that could potentially be in play for 2023. I could see him going full-time next season in the Xfinity Series for Stewart-Haas Racing. If they do not have a place for him, if he does not take that 10 car in Cup, I could see that as a potential. Or going into Rick Ware Racing's 15 car or one of their 35 other numbers as full-time next season. Maybe even that getting him prepped for a full-time ride, maybe replacing Kevin Harvick in a couple of years. Here's another big one. This is a big one that kind of keeps my eye. I'm a big supporter of Kaulig Racing, so I'm talking about the 16 car. Does it stay with multiple drivers going into 2023 like they're doing this season with Hemrick, Allmendinger, and Gregson? I don't know. There's a chance. Obviously, it could be a development car. It could be a place where if other teams want to bring one of their Xfinity prospects up and give them some Cup ride opportunities, I could see that as well. And then, but I could see the potential of Gregson or Hemrick going in that car. Or, and they kind of mentioned for AJ this season, would he go into a full-time Cup ride? He seems really happy in the Xfinity Series. He's extremely competitive down there. Very competitive. I could potentially see him going after a championship there this season, maybe even next season. But I do see that probably staying with either Gregson or Allmendinger or multiple drivers. I don't know about bringing Hemrick back up to Cup. Obviously, here's a big one. This one was big when they announced it, but the number 91 Trackhouse Racing Chevrolet, multiple international drivers. They've already made it announced that they will be running the road courses next season with that car. Kimi Räikkönen will be running the car this season at Watkins Glen. And then I could definitely see Jimmy Johnson filling in a seat in that car as well. The Money Team Racing's number 50 Chevrolet, I could see that going part-time again next season, if not completely folding. I think I could have swore they wanted to probably run a few more races than they have this season. But I could see them potentially running with Kaz Grala again, or bringing maybe somebody a little cheaper up. Who knows? The Spire Motorsports number 77 car, I see that one remaining multiple drivers. I don't know that one goes anywhere else. Noah Gregson could potentially fill that ride, but just not sure there. Zane Smith. Now, Zane filled in for Chris Buescher during his COVID protocol, and he finished 16th at, I believe it was Gateway, if I'm not mistaken. Fantastic finish, great run for him. Fairly competitive the whole time. I could definitely see him running a full-time Xfinity car, potentially for Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing. I see that one being a little more unlikely, but Brad and them have made it known that they do want to potentially go back down and go compete in the Xfinity Series again. That could be potential, or being cup bound even. I don't see him skipping Xfinity, but it is a chance. Brad Keselowski has said he is one of the hottest prospects, and I feel like there's a potential that Brad could pull a 2311 and sign him for 2024 before anyone else gets the opportunity. Trevor Bain obviously has had some fantastic runs this season. I could see him potentially going full-time in the number 18 Xfinity car, or even potentially full-time in a Truck Series ride. He has shown that he can be competitive when he's in good equipment, and I think that, give him a little more consistency, a little more time, he can go out and snag some wins. And last but not least, before we go, the Nice Motorsports Cup entry. They have made it very well known that they are interested in going to Cup, and they have stated that they want to bring Carson Hocevar with them. Now let's talk about that 2024. This will be the last thing I talk about. I mean, 2024 silly season's already started. That's scary. But Junior Motorsports has made it pretty obvious they want to go Cup racing, maybe even starting in 2023, whether that be part-time. Could this be the downfall, potentially, of RCR? We see the 8 leaving. They talked about how it is not ideal timing. That we know they're not a powerhouse team that they used to be. They were always kind of a mid-pack mediocre, or maybe not mediocre is not the word, but a mid-pack or less than stellar team, elevated by Kevin Harvick and Dale Earnhardt, guys who were far outperforming their equipment. But could that potentially be a Junior Motorsports, JRM, RCR affiliation in the future? Could they merge next season or in 2024? We know Junior has affiliation with Hendrick. Obviously, Hendrick fielded their first Xfinity Series race in, 11 years, something nuts like that. 13 years, I wrote it down right here. But we could potentially see a separation there. But I could potentially see affiliation there. And then who takes on the 8 in 2024? Do they even run the 8? I could see potential for maybe Noah Gregson if he stays in Xfinity a little longer. Sheldon Creed, I don't know. He hasn't really impressed anybody. But Austin Hill is already a 2-time winner in the Xfinity Series so far this season. And then you do, of course, have Ty Dillon. He did run for RCR a few years back in 2014, 2015. He ran 7 races between the 2 seasons before going to Germain, which was essentially an RCR affiliate. But let me know what you guys think. If you guys made it all the way through the video, let me know what you guys think. Am I wrong about something? Do you have different ideas? Do you think something else might happen? Leave that in the comments section below. Thanks for watching, guys, and hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Good luck to your drivers this weekend.